Alrighty, guys, welcome to another episode of Entertainment Exposed. With your hosts, Scott Fullerton and David Reddish. Today, we are very excited to have a special guest in house. Jason Caceres is joining us. You might have seen him in Boy Culture, Generation X. He's currently all over the place. If you check out Open to It by Frank Smith, Cutaways by my buddy Mark Schwab, and Laid Bare by Tim O'Leary, which we had on a couple days ago, or just about any vertical series you've ever seen in your life, Jason's going to appear. So we are excited to have him so much on the show today. Jason Caceres, welcome to Entertainment Exposed. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Always great to see you both.
We love you. Last time we were all together in the same room, I think, was Magic Castle in LA a couple years ago.
Yes. It was for bottomless mimosas, if I remember correctly.
Always the best way to have them.
You gotta love that, right? I mean, if you're gonna go gay, you might as well do it right. So what's better than bottomless mimosas in Magic Castle?
The only time
I'm going to let David start off kind of reminding us about Tim and Laid Bare, and then we'll go into, we're talking season finale happening. You're looking little suspect in there, but you can't give too much away.
I don't know what you're talking about. Nothing.
Well, I have to say, I really enjoyed Laid Bare. I was actually out in Palm Springs when Tim started work on it. We ran into each other that weekend, and he said, I'm working on a mystery series that's going to be super gay. I said, oh, well, we'll see how that goes. When I saw the show, I was really delighted because it is very, very funny, and it does keep you guessing in terms of who done it. You have a very sizable role in it. Tell me, did you have to audition for this, or did Tim actually write the part with you in mind?
He wrote the part with me in mind, which is the first time that's ever happened. I met Tim because I was in his first show that ever aired called Demon Hunter on Here TV. It's on Amazon Prime now also. And then 3 years ago, he started working on Laid Bare. I was like, I have this idea for a queer murder mystery set at a clothing optional resort. I have this character that I want to write for you because I've traditionally played like the cute little twink who's energetic and comes in and is kind of like funny and, you know, doesn't take anything too seriously. And he's like, I want to see something a little bit more grown up and a little more gruffer. So he's like, I'm writing you as an Olympic snowboarder. I was like, okay. And then it took 3 years from conception to actual production.
Yeah.
So I was part of most of the table reads, if not all. No, I missed one actually because I was on set. So it was interesting to see it develop over time. And Tim is such a collaborator. This is the only nice thing I'll ever say about Tim because we can't stand each other. It's canonically we hate each other.
Okay, well.
No, Tim is great. But he's such a collaborator. So he's open to ideas. He's open to notes. So the whole experience was artistically freeing.
Speaking of going freeing, it should be mentioned at this point that most of the cast, I think just about everybody, goes full frontal nude at some point in this show, including you.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about doing nude scenes. I've talked to so many actors in my career who talk about how awkward it is, how uncomfortable it is. What was that experience like for you? What kind of mood does Tim create on the set to hopefully put you at ease?
Well, it's set in a clothing optional resort, and that's where we stayed. So the whole cast was boarded there. So it was kind of already the environment. And I mean, after production, we would all just go into the pool and have a few drinks and hang out naked. So it was kind of not a big deal because that's just the environment of the situation. As far as how Tim is gross. He's just handsy. I'm kidding. No. What I really like about Tim is he's a queer writer and he does feature a lot of male nudity in his projects. There's full frontal in Demon Hunter 2, and most of the cast is full frontal, including myself in that show. He doesn't write it to be exploitative. There's a reason for the nudity. It's not like shock value. He doesn't like there's no close-ups of like genitals, or it's just the people are naked. It shows the characters' comfort levels. It shows their struggle, their internal conflicts, because not every character in the show is willing to be full frontal at first. Like we see James's character, for example, hyping himself up in the mirror, being like, okay, it's just a body, everyone else is naked, you can do it. And his character finally does it and is still covering himself during some of the scenes, which is a real struggle some gay people face with their own bodies and, you know, their own freedom. Oh, David, you look great. What are you talking about?
You haven't seen me naked recently. I'm just saying.
I don't want to say anything because I love Jason's boyfriend, Brian, but
Yes.
Jason and I first met in a clothing option resort in person.
Wow.
Before that, but that's how we met. And I'm going to leave that a little titillating just because it makes me feel better about myself.
David and I also first met at a clothing optional Korean spa. So I don't know what he's
wait a second. There's so much backstory here then.
I think
you may have forgotten
than anybody else.
You may have forgotten the part where I was strategically trying to cover myself most of the evening at said spa. It was a little too well lit for me to feel comfortable about
I never took my clothes off, so there we go. Anyway, I want to go, Jason. I mean, you have, like I said, you are so prolific. You're doing verticals every 3 days, it seems like. You did Open to It, you did Cutaways, and you did Laid Bare. They're all coming out at the same time. I know sometimes they shoot 5 years apart, 5 months apart. How do you work all these in and keep all these lines straight and all these characters straight? What's your process for all this?
I'm very lucky that I have kind of like an eidetic memory. So it's really funny because I can memorize an entire like 13-page scene and not know what I'm talking about because I have a photographic memory, so I can see the lines in my head and I can say them. But then once we're wrapped, I'm like, what did I even say? I have no idea. Like that is gone. It's a little, I'm cheating a little bit. But it seems like a lot since it's all coming out at the same time. Most of these shoots don't last longer than 7 days. So over the course of a year, I could have been in 30 something projects, but it was only, I don't know, a combined 80 days of work out of 365.
Oh.
So it seems like I'm constantly on set and working. I'm not. I've got a lot of downtime. But I just finished my 90-second vertical yesterday.
Oh my gosh.
Congrats. Wow.
Thank you. So it's a lot of running lines with my boyfriend, my poor boyfriend. He runs lines with me. He does all of my self-tape auditions, so he's always my reader. It's a lot of work, but I grew up doing theater. So I come from a background of memorizing 200 plus pages and, you know, performing nightly. So it's training. It's like working out. Your brain is a muscle. So the more you use it, the easier it gets. I know that sounds cliche, but it's the truth.
No, it makes sense. Definitely makes sense. You shoot all these verticals. You mentioned earlier that you shot like 6 self-tapes already today, which is impressive. I know actors that don't get that much in a month. Tell me a little bit about, because you're so associated with verticals or web series, or you're not afraid to do a queer show or a queer show you're naked. Do you find that affects the kinds of parts that you're called in for, or do you find casting directors treat you a certain way because, oh, you're the naked guy, oh, you're the gay guy? You know, we hear a lot about this kind of typecasting.
I'm going to pull up a clip really quick from one of these self-tapes that I just did. I'm going to remove the audio so you can't see it. But these are the kind of roles I'm auditioning for.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if this answers your question. But yeah, of course, it does affect, I guess, the perception of me as an actor a little bit. Luckily, the verticals don't seem to lean into that because they're kind of like a production factory. They shoot an entire 160-page vertical in 7 days. It's edited. They move on to the next one. So they're constantly in production. So it's a great training ground also. I've played a frat boy. I've played a CEO's assistant. I've played a stripper. I've played the gay best friend. So it allows me to diversify when it comes to characters. Like I've played the villain. I've played a mafia boss, which is great. Unfortunately, that hasn't bled into mainstream media quite yet. So the bigger auditions I get are always for queer characters.
Interesting.
I don't have a problem with it because I'm very queer representation focused. I don't think there's enough of it. So if I can be the voice for a small portion of the community, even, I will gladly take on that role. I thought in 2026 we'd be in a different place right now when it comes to queer media, but we're not. We're seeing even mainstream shows that are queer focused last only one season and be canceled. I mean, Boots was the number one show on Netflix for several weeks, and for some reason it got canceled. It's not getting season 2, and we don't know why.
Oh, Scott and I think we know why. We've talked about this on the show quite a bit.
Talked about that very much so.
Yes.
In fact, we may get into that here in a minute, actually, because there are developments in that story. But it's unfortunate that two of the hottest shows of the year, Boots and Heated Rivalry, are sort of getting this kind of blowback. Heated Rivalry is getting season 2, but Boots not getting season 2 when it was clear the audience was there, it was a profitable show, is pretty dubious.
Yeah, and Olimpo also didn't get renewed for a second season, which is it's a European queer show, but it was also the number one show in Europe for I don't know how many weeks, but it also got canceled. So we're seeing a lot of, they're kind of like blips of like, oh, here, gay people exist. You can have this little morsel. See, we're representing you. And then it's, okay, that's enough. You got enough airtime. We're done. Mm-hmm. So if I can do anything to help bring queer characters to the mainstream media, even if it's detrimental towards my career or I never expand past queer roles, I don't mind, because I'm an openly queer person. I live my life truthfully. I'm not like an actor that's afraid to share their personal life, and I'm not blaming the people who don't do that. It's very scary out there to share that part of yourself, but I have nothing to lose, so
I don't. Great attitude.
I love that, and I love that you're always learning in your craft. I mean, every time we talk, you're doing something new, you're auditioning for something new, you're learning something new. You did all of those magazine shoots forever, and you built your body that way. You take that seriously, even though we know you don't like that, but you do the painful work that it takes to get you where you go. And I wanted to, you've worked with some great people, Alan Braca, of course, on culture. You've worked with Mark Schwab, is a good friend of mine, and I love the way he shoots things. And you've worked with, of course, Tim. Talk about what you've learned from these different directors and what you try to learn when you're on set with all these places and people.
It's every director is kind of different. Alan Braca was a dream come true, because I grew up watching all the Eating Out movies, the original Boy Culture. I say all the time that Alan was my queer awakening. He doesn't like that. He's like, we're going to think something different. I'm like, well, they can think whatever they want. You were. Alan is a very hands-off director. So he kind of just let me be the character on set. There was a lot of improv that he allowed too. Which is very freeing. I was also a lot younger. That was like one of the first major roles that I booked, because it was like a 6-episode arc. So I was a lot younger. So he, I guess, taught me about freedom on set. Mark Schwab is a little bit more detail focused, more of an internal kind of director. Like he's really concerned with character beats and what your character's thinking and what their goal is. So it was a little bit more methodical. So we had to be prepared on set. We had to be completely off book. We had to know the beats, know our blocking, especially when with a story like Cutaways, because it's a little bit more dramatic. It's almost kind of like a psychological thriller with hints of comedy, of course, because It's pretty funny. So I learned a little bit more about detailing specific characteristics when it comes to my character trace through Mark. And then Tim is a mess and doesn't do anything accurately or correctly or by the book. He's the worst. I hope I never see him ever again. I don't want to work with him. I'm kidding. Tim is, we have this ongoing fake feud that we've created. I don't know if he mentioned this when he was on this podcast.
Yeah.
He did.
And
We have this fake feud
I think his final parting words were "tell Jason fuck you" or something along those lines. It wasn't the exact words, but it was something along those lines.
So we did another interview where he went first and was like, "I hate Jason, I hate blah blah blah," and then I went and I was like, "I hate Tim," and then this person invited us to a party and was like, "Oh, I was so nervous to invite both of you," and we showed up to the party and we're like, "Tim, I haven't seen you in forever," and he was like, "Oh my God, what is happening?" First of all, so we've created this fake feud. Now we've told the world, so I guess it's not even fun anymore. But we've created this fake feud just to entertain ourselves, mainly.
I'm going to cut out the best parts and put it up for our Webby Award and our 2 interviews side by side, Jason and Tim.
And with us just fighting. No, Tim is wonderful to work with. He's very collaborative, as I said before. So he's helped me develop my producing hat a little bit because he demands more from his actors than just showing up, knowing their lines, and delivering. He wants to know what you think of your character's arc. Is there anything you want included? How do you feel about saying this line? Do you think this would happen? Like, wow, this is very all-encompassing. So I really love working with Tim, and we may or may not be developing another series together.
Nice. I think I saw the Instagram pics
What
of some
can you tease us with
scheming,
there? Yeah.
I was going to ask you that off air. But nice. All right, David, we have time for maybe one more question, and then we'll let Jason let us know everything else he's up to. But go ahead.
Well, I wanted to mention, because I just learned this myself, you are nominated for an LA Blade Award for Favorite West Hollywood-based actor right now. I feel like we should talk a little bit about that. Tell us how you found out you were, first of all, how did they find you? Did you submit? Tell us about the nomination, and tell us how people can vote.
So the LA Blade has interviewed me twice now. And they did a whole like cover for their newspaper that was like, "Is Jason too gay?" Which I was like, wow, that's a headline. That focused basically about how my first time when I first moved out here, my first agent dropped me because she said my voice was too gay. It wasn't marketable. I would never work. Here we are now, still working. Where is she? Not here. Anyway. So it kind of focused on that storyline, and then when Laid Bear came out, they reached out for another interview just to track my Out TV progression, because Boy Culture opened to it, both seasons, and Laid Bear all aired on Out TV as Out TV original series. So I did not submit to be nominated, but I guess I was already in their pool of actors that they know. Someone must have nominated me in their staff. And then I got an email saying, "Congratulations, you've been nominated for Best Local Actor." And I mean, the other people that are nominated are huge. Like Trevor Dow has millions of followers. Na Lee is on, is it a Marvel? A DC show? The Punisher spinoff?
That's Marvel, yeah.
Marvel. So he's a series regular on that. I'm like, I do not deserve to be in the same category as these people. They are doing amazing work. And I'm here taking my clothes off for Out TV. But I will take it. If you haven't voted yet, vote for me for Best Actor.
Where can people vote? Maybe you should tell us that.
At the Los Angeles Blade website. I don't have it
Okay.
memorized off the top of my head, but it's Los Angeles Blade. If you Google it, they have like their awards section, nomination section. You can go and vote, and there's like best drag, there's a bunch of, I think you have to be kind of local to understand who some of these people are.
Yeah.
But even if you're not and you want to vote for me, I'm not going to say no.
We got to get in touch with them, Scott. We have shows to promote. Maybe we could collaborate.
They're great.
Jason Caceres, you know I love you like a brother. We have known each other for over 8 years now, and it's been so lovely just seeing your career progress from everything you've done and really kind of taken charge. So I love that you took the time to come on today, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure. I love seeing you.
Let everyone know where they can follow you on social media and what's the next big project. They should finish Laid Bare now on Out TV, but what's the next thing they should be looking for?
So I've made everything super streamlined on social media. It's all the same handle. It's Jason S. and then Caceres, my last name, which is the most difficult part of it. It's on Instagram, TikTok, X, formerly known as Twitter. It's all the same. Just made it super easy. And next big project, I'm shooting a queer feature film it's called Batty Boy. And it is the first major queer full-length feature about a queer Jamaican man, Afro-Jamaican man, and his struggle with his identity, coming out in the Jamaican culture, because it's very illegal and dangerous in Jamaica to be openly queer. So it centers around that. I play Tyler. I think that's all I can say. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm not sure. But I also have another feature coming out. It's being distributed by Shudder called A Love Like This, starring Hayes MacArthur, Emmanuel Shrieky, Joe Michaely, and myself. So it's just us four. And it also features full frontal nudity by yours truly.
So if you want to see more of Jason, make sure to check it out.
There you go. And see Cutaways. Is it coming out now, or is it just film festivaling right now?
It's out now on video on demand. It's on Vimeo. And it was supposed to also be on Amazon Prime by now, but the distributor is having trouble uploading it to the Amazon. There's like a weird disconnect, but it should be out on Amazon Prime by the end of this month.
It's a wild character piece. It was different and it was fun to watch. But
yes, there's also nudity. There's just full frontal. That's why I spend so much time at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, look at that. Now we're definitely going to a different audience all of a sudden. Jason, I love you. Give Brian my love and have a great afternoon, my friend. I'll talk to you soon.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Take care, man.
Bye. Well, that was always fun. I love being able to talk to my bud Jason there. And he is just, like I said, so prolific. I see him in everything. It's crazy, but
glad to see him working.
How have you been this week, my friend? Fair enough. You were recovering from surgery. I had a little bout with stomach flu the other day, so I've been recovering. Are you feeling okay right now?
Yeah, I'm fine. The swelling is gone. I actually, after we're done here, I need to run over and see my doctor for my next follow-up. I expect he's going to clear me to return to life, which is good because I haven't been able to work out for the past couple of weeks. And I have been colossally bored, so I need to find things that I can do again physically. So I'm looking forward to that.
Bored in real life, but I mean, with your politics show and everything happening this week with State of the Union and the Epstein of it all, I'm sure you're extremely busy. But what's on your hot button issues for entertainment? We got about 10 minutes to go over some stuff.
Okay, well, so first, I think we need to talk about a show called Reality Check: America's Next Top Model. This is a top streaming documentary on Netflix right now. It's a 3-part series that explores the history of America's Next Top Model, which was a very, very popular reality show in the early to mid-aughts. I guess we're saying 2003, early to mid-aughts.
I was wondering why Tyra is all over my social feeds lately. That explains it. Okay.
So Tyra Banks, of course, was the executive producer, co-creator, and host of that show. It became an international phenomenon. They did something like 25 cycles of it, something crazy like that. It was on for many, many years. Produced some very successful models, some not so much. And now it's coming to light some of the things that went on behind the scenes on that show, which I have to say, as someone who did not, I think I watched 2 cycles of it. I think I watched cycle 2 and cycle 3, both of which come into major play on the show for various reasons. But they catch up with some of the contestants, including some of the winners who maybe did not have great modeling careers after, and they're talking about some of the conditions they had to work under. One woman, Shandy from season 2, who very famously cheated on her boyfriend, now talks about the incident. It sounds kind of rapey. She does not call it that. No one else on the show calls it that, but it seems to be that people are talking about this was something that should not have gone on. And whether or not you think she consented, I think I came away with the feeling of going, no, the producers should have stepped in and stopped this. Why did they allow this to go on with a bunch of 19 and 20-year-old girls who are drunk in a foreign country, except that they wanted to exploit this any way that they could.
Right.
It's really unfortunate. She talks about a lot of the bullying, public ridicule that she endured and continues to endure for that incident, how it wrecked her relationship, how she feels it really hurt her career. There are other talks about racism or sort of fat shaming of women who were definitely not overweight, but were maybe getting ridiculed. As I mentioned, Tyra is in the show. So whatever you think about her coming out of this series, I would point out she's in the show. She answers a lot of the allegations that are sort of lobbied at her and the show, whether or not you like her answers or whether or not, in my opinion, they came off maybe a little too rehearsed to feel sincere. That is up to individual viewers. That's part of why the show is so compelling to watch, in my view. It's also interesting because though Tyra does appear on the show, the Janice Dickinson, who was the breakout villain star of the show, who was originally a judge on the show, does not appear. She does not come off the best. But she also comes off as someone who was very savvy and knew exactly what she was doing to promote the show, to make it better television. The people who do appear in the show, Nigel, Tyra's photographer friend, Jay Manuel, who is the style consultant, and Miss J, who was the runway walk consultant for all these models, who also became breakout stars of the show, and that Tyra later fired unceremoniously. Tyra makes it sound like it was not her decision. They all say Tyra had enough power that she could have intervened on their behalf. She just didn't do anything, and they were all unceremoniously fired from the show pretty late into the game, something like cycle 20. And this is after some of them had wanted to leave much, much earlier. They felt their relationships on the show with Tyra and some of the other producers were souring. They were not comfortable with the direction that the show was going in, where they saw candidates, contestants who were purposely being sabotaged by the producers because they thought it made for better television. And so suddenly everyone's sort of looking at the show as maybe this wasn't a fair competition. Maybe it wasn't even a competition at all. It was just a way to get a bunch of pretty young girls on TV and exploit them anyway that they could. There are people that I know. So I remember watching that show with someone I was friends with at the time who's gone on to be a pretty successful TV producer. I won't say his name, but he was constantly defending the show when I would say, I think it's kind of gross what they're doing right now. She was drunk. I think it's kind of gross what they're doing right now. You know, they're clearly abusing these women. He would say, but it's great TV. That was always his defense. And that is the same defense that sort of comes up on the documentary. It's interesting to see the way that defense plays now as opposed to 22 years ago. I encourage our listeners, our viewers, to go check that out because it is provocative and it is interesting.
That's crazy.
Have you watched it yet, Scott?
I was never into that show, but I mean, I can just imagine the drama of it all. A bunch of pretty people in a room and Tyra Banks. That's had to be some moments everywhere. One of the things that came across my radar this week, and of course we just talked to Jason, and he's done so many of these vertical microdramas, it's talking about a boom. We talked a couple weeks ago about Hulu's picking it up and a couple other places. Netflix is looking to pick it up. They just kind of said that last week, the real short averages on your phones is now 35.7 minutes of use per day, where all of Netflix properties are at 24.8 minutes. So it has surpassed Netflix as the most watched thing right now, watching these microdramas on their phone. So I don't think they're going away anytime soon. There's a couple of great gay verticals that have starring leads that are doing some great content outside of the verticals. Evan Gabrielle, I believe, for The Waterboy, and a couple of people are really starting to blow up on their socials with seeing from these. But these verticals are here to stay, so actors are going to have some work.
It's good. They need it. The studios are still not producing out here right now, and it's kind of a mess. On that note, we should say that the Warner Brothers Netflix buyout, Netflix buying Warner Brothers, something we've talked about on the show before, is now taking another turn where maybe they are now considering Paramount's bid under pressure from the Trump administration. It's one mess after another. James Cameron, the director of Avatar and Terminator, has come out saying that he thinks Paramount should take over. But his motive for this is interesting. He keeps saying it's because he doesn't feel like Netflix will preserve theatrical motion pictures. I think that is BS because they stand to make more from putting movies in theaters than they do from just putting them on streaming. We've talked about this on the show before. And more importantly, to my mind, and I can't believe that Cameron's blind to this, the Ellisons and Skydance that now own Paramount and CBS, not only are they mucking about with all their shows politically to be sympathetic to the Trump administration, they are also showing that they are not movie or television people. They don't know how to make a film or make a series. They're more of the let's just crank out content mindset, which has created a lot of problems in the industry right now. That's part of why no one's creating anything, because they just wanted to crank out stuff as quickly as possible, and they devalued some of their major properties and brands. Things were sort of haphazard. They were rushed, and it's created mass chaos in Hollywood right now. So I think
that's crazy. I did read about that. I kind of got the feeling too that Cameron was talking about back in iteration 3, where they were talking about that 45 window to release, 45-day window to release things, that he doesn't believe they're going to hold up to that. Because I think, like I said, the third negotiation, they were going to go to 15 days before they do it, and the whole rigmarole on that. And so supposedly Netflix went back to saying they'd guarantee 45 days in the theater before they would put it on their platform. But Cameron doesn't believe that. So there's still lots of issues floating around, and I think it's Paramount bid 10 right now they're working on. So crazy.
Something like that. And that also, I mean, it would almost create a monopoly for Paramount, CBS, CNN, Warner Brothers, the CW, all of this to sort of fall, HBO, all fall under the purview of one company. That's very monopolistic, which is a problem in this town, and it's a problem in corporate America right now, but that would not help anything. On that note, we should also talk about Disney. It wouldn't be the Left of Straight show if we didn't have some Disney bashing to do at this point. Disney right now is in crisis because, and it's interesting, Michael Eisner just this week, Michael Eisner, who was the chairman of the Disney company from the mid-'80s until the mid-2000s, 20-something years, came out and was very critical of the company, saying it's too expensive to go to the parks. He thinks it's a mistake to do everything on an app, that they nickel and dime for everything, that it's so unpleasant. He has problems with the way they've handled their film releases, their streaming and series releases. That is exceptionally rare for a former CEO to come out like that and be so pointed in his criticism, especially where Disney is concerned. And Disney is also in some interesting financial straits right now because they bought Fox Studios a few years back, as you will recall, and they have not recouped the cost from that. And on top of that, their tentpole brands, Avatar Fire and Ash made more than $1 billion less than Avatar Tale of Water, whatever. The second movie, the third movie made $1 billion less. So now the question of the future of Avatar, which is part of the reason why Disney bought Fox to begin with, the future of Avatar is now in jeopardy. By the way, they're also building Avatar attractions at Disneyland right now. So this, I don't know if this is going to the way that they're actually building the attractions here, we'll see. If Avatar is a dead brand, I'm not sure it makes a lot of sense to keep that up. But they also released a new trailer for The Mandalorian and Grogu, their next big Star Wars project. First Star Wars film since 2019, and it is not being well regarded. It did not do well. It seems like there's not a lot of interest in the film. So that's another blow to the company. Marvel right now in dire straits because they're spending more than $1 billion on the new Avengers movies. And if those underperform, it's not clear what Marvel will do going forward. It's possible they would have to reset the entire brand. That's a lot to be up in the air. I don't envy the Disney company right now. And of course, there were rumors that a big tech company would like to buy Disney in the next few years. So we'll see where that goes.
Very, very interesting. Well, I will wrap it up with my last article of interest that I found, just because I was a big fan of the show. But it was announced that Ryan Coogler, who of course is in the centers of it all right now during award season, did Black Panther, speaking of Marvel, Creed, all these great things. He has got an order for a pilot to go to Hulu, rebooting the X-Files. This time making it a more diverse cast. Danielle Deadweiler's set to star. They don't have the other lead yet, but she's played some great parts in shows I saw, Atlanta, The Bear, and Station 11, things like that. Yeah, but I'm a big fan of Ryan Coogler. I was a huge fan of X-Files, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, that it has its pilot greenlit to Hulu. So that's kind of fun.
I'm a huge fan of the X-Files. I own the entire series on Blu-ray and like this accordion-sized box set. I am one of the 5 people that watched it the night it premiered, all those years ago in the mid-90s. I am a huge X fan. I love it. It's not clear. What's interesting to me about the reboot, I have mixed feelings about a reboot in general, because a lot of what the X-Files was about now kind of seems silly. Like in the 90s, when there was a lot of paranoia about government conspiracies to conceal aliens and a fear of the millennium change and a fear of things that, stories that were emerging on the internet and like this sort of technological boom, the X-Files really reflected all of that, which is part of why it was so thrilling, especially at the time. But those things are not quite frightening anymore in the way they used to be. So it's not clear to me if Coogler is going to follow the show other than to just use the title and the premise, if he's going to involve sort of alien mythology. And it's also not clear to me if this is a clean reboot or if this is more of a revival where we will see Mulder and Scully, David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson also coming back to take part in it at some point. I'll be intrigued because Coogler, like you say, is extremely talented.
From what I've read, it's going to be more reboot, and I don't think it's going to be a revision for what I saw. He's doing it partly because his mom was a huge fan of the show, and it would be interesting because I thought the same thing, because before it was kind of the UFO zombie paranoia. Now we have QAnon, we have all these other things that could be interesting to blow out. There's all sorts of new conspiracy theories these days, so it will be interesting to see where he goes with it for these kind of deals. It's very interesting.
And real quick before we go, I have to give a special shout out to Six the Musical, which I just saw at the Pantages Theater last week. It's here in LA for the next few weeks. It's touring the country. It's a terrific time at the theater. It's the story of Henry VIII's 6 wives. And it's more of a review concert than a traditional musical. It's very, very fun. The music, every song slaps. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it, to all our listeners.
Agreed 100%. It's been a favorite of my good friends that own Showboy Bake Shop. They create cupcakes for about every run on it. And of course, Dylan Mulvaney just took over one of the roles on Broadway.
That's right.
So we have her taking it over on Broadway. It's very much a jukebox musical, but the songs are cool. It's
original song. It's not a jukebox musical. It's all original music, but it's not a traditional musical where there's a lot of plot. It's much more like a concert, like you're going to see, the 6 wives of Henry VIII, like in concert together, and it's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys running along. Thank yous again to Jason Caceres for joining us today. David, remind everyone where they can find you on Instagram and The David Reddish Show, and we will see you all next week.
You can find me on Instagram at The Gay Magneto, all one word, or just YouTube search me, The David Reddish Show.
There you go. And I'm here at Left to Straight Podcast. We appreciate you every week. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.